I really thought we were past this point. I really thought that we had buried the hatchet that is Nick Sirianni taking over critical moments in the game, making boneheaded decisions that can completely alter a game. I'm just getting the obvious out of the way. That was not a fumble. The referees were very much in favor of the Jaguars this entire game, and that fumble solidified it. No one can prove me otherwise. No one can tell me that they weren't. That's just number one. Number two, there are a few players that I want to thank because they wanted this game more than anybody on the field. That is A.J. Brown before he got hurt, obviously, of course. Hopefully he's okay. Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, Nakobe Dean, Sidney Brown, Zach Bond, and last but not least, without a shadow of a doubt, in my mind, Saquon Barkley. Because without these players, this game, with the way that your coach completely went in far and beyond out of his way to ruin this game, and the referees, how against the Eagles they were, those players wanted it more. That throw and touchdown to Smith, that catch, Saquon Barkley was just a highlight reel, literally a highlight reel of a person in this one game alone. Like 2 touchdowns on the one on the ground, one through the air, hurtling over people, spin moving, and dodging people all in the same play within 5 seconds. Just gashing through this good rushing defense, making it look easy and making everything that just helping out this team, especially when A.J. Brown when it got hurt. Jahan Dotson had a huge catch that helped lead to a score. Grant Calcaterra did pretty good early on. He kind of disappeared in the second half, but a lot of things did in the second half. Nakobe Dean with the interception, thank God for you. But at the end of the day, as much as I wanted to highlight the positives because they are there, and that's what I do, and that's what we all should do, the biggest negative is not how poorly the defense was, because at the end of the day, the defense allowed 16 total points. One of them was a garbage time touchdown, the early one in the third quarter. It didn't change anything. The referees gave the Jaguars a free 8 points on that fumble, for one. And secondly, Nick Sirianni. On every fourth down in the red zone, he went for it instead of kicking a field goal. On every single touchdown minus the very first touchdown to start the game, he went for it too. The tush push is dead. We don't have Jason Kelce anymore. We don't have Jordan Mailata right now, and we had a few guys banged up that could barely do much. Tush push needs to stop. That's one. The brotherly shove needs to retire. That's number one. And number two, this man, single-handedly, just by doing this or that on fourth down, let up 9 potential points, because the Eagles didn't cash in touchdowns, or they wanted to go for 2 just because, for not even for anything, for no reason. You were ahead the entire game. All you need to do is just kick PATs. Let Jake Elliott kick PATs, and the one time on fourth down, 57 yards out. Ice cold, hasn't kicked a lick outside of kickoffs since the first quarter when you scored a touchdown. You finally scored a touchdown in the first quarter. That's the last time you saw Jake Elliott kick a field goal. You sent him out there for 57, and like it was written on paper, he doinks it off the upright. And who's to blame for that? It's Nick Sirianni. Legitimately, this team could have scored 50 points. They could have, if everyone was still healthy, if certain play calls happened better, or were made differently. But at bare minimum, they could have had 37 points and not have had to have been in this just anxiety-inducing moment at home in Kelly Green against the Jacksonville Jaguars, down 3 of their top wide receivers and O-linemen, and they traded away one of their pass rushers. And you're telling me that you're going to play down to their level because what is Doug Pearson coming back? He has a statue out back. You want one of yourselves, Nick Sirianni? You're not going to get a statue. No one likes you in this city. And you're doing this makes us hate you more because of how good this team is. Devontae, Jalen, Saquon, Nakobe Dean, Brandon Graham, Isaiah Rodgers. All these players, Zach Bond, Josh Sweat, everybody. They're bailing you out because of how much talent they have. You are the most incompetent, idiotic head coach in the world, and you getting into it, interfering with Kellen Moore's flow, going for two, going for it on fourth down when you could just keep the momentum and kick a field goal, take what the defense gives you, and put points on the board. Instead, you're getting greedy. Instead, you think so much of yourself because these are your guys. This is your team. These are your players. Not every single fourth down can be made. Not every 2-point conversion can be made. You cannot tell me going for it on 2-point tries 3 times today is going to win you a football game when you're already ahead. Going for it on fourth down 3 or 4 times instead of kicking field goals when you're already ahead. What's the point? What is the point? I thought we were over this. I literally watched him do this against the Atlanta Falcons, and it led to us losing. And it almost happened to a even worse. At least the Falcons are a good team. The Jaguars are one of the worst teams in the AFC, and we beat them by 5 points because of this incompetent head coach. We've kind of settled down the Nick Sirianni hot seat talk because this team has been playing better. Jalen Hurts didn't throw a pick. We had a turnover because of Saquon's fumble that was returned for a touchdown. But literally, this team on offense has been clicking so well. This defense has looked so good. But today, Nick Sirianni put them in situations that completely nullified all of the good that's happened the last 3 weeks. Because despite 3 turnovers made by the defense, despite Saquon running for $150 and 2 total touchdowns, Hurts throwing for 2 touchdowns and over 250 yards, despite all of that, without A.J. Brown, without Mekhi Becton, without Jordan Mailata, this team and the fans especially are left with sour taste in their mouths because of one person who just cannot get out of his own way and is becoming one of the most hated people in the sports industry here. Outside of Howard Eskin, outside of Joel Embiid, outside of Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, you're adding your name to that list because of how stupid you are at managing critical situations. Stay out of Kellen Moore's playbook, stay out of the way of the game plan and the play calling, and sit your ass back on the bench. We don't want you interfering with these things because clearly you are not equipped despite how good this team is, and that is a problem. Outside of that, I'm very happy with how that 22-0 streak, that's the true team that we see. The team, even 22-8, that's the team that we have. That's the team that we are. Take out the referees and take out Nick Sirianni and his just remarkably idiotic decision making. This team is still really good, but they continue to be hampered by one dumbass. I'm sorry, but that's what he is. We're 6-2. Put this one to bed. It's Dallas week, baby. Let's get to it.